Hey, welcome! So today, we're going to put together a super practical guide for managing obesity, prediabetes, and diabetes. It's all about taking back control and building a healthier future, one small step at a time. Let's just dive right in. So maybe you just left the doctor's office with the news that you have prediabetes or that you're at risk. Hearing that can be a real shock to the system. It's totally normal to feel a bit overwhelmed, maybe even a little lost about what to do next. But the good news? There is a really clear path forward. And the first thing to know is that you are definitely not alone in this. So let's think of this as our game plan, a practical toolkit we're going to build together right now to help you make some immediate positive changes that are actually going to stick. All right, first up, understanding the challenge. Let's get to the why behind all this. The main goal here is to get a handle on three things: your blood sugar, your blood pressure, and your weight. And get this, you don't need a massive change to see huge results. A weight loss of just 5 to 10% can make an absolutely massive difference. Okay, section 2, your dietary toolkit. To tackle that challenge, we need the right tools, right? This section is all about the what to eat. We're going to equip you with some simple, powerful tools for making smarter choices without feeling deprived. We're going to zero in on 5 key tools. It's all about mastering portion control, picking the right kind of carbs, loading up on fiber, choosing lean protein, and, cutting back on those sugary drinks. Sounds simple, but trust me, they are incredibly effective. So, our first tool, portion control, really begins with something called mindful eating. I know it might sound a little cliche, but it is a total game changer. It's just about listening to your body's own signals again. Are you actually hungry or just bored? Are you full? Slowing down and actually tasting your food helps you hear those signals loud and clear. And here's a super practical tip. You don't need to carry measuring cups everywhere. For stuff like rice or noodles, a single serving is about the size of your cupped hand. It's a simple little visual guide you can take with you anywhere you go. Tool number 2, getting a handle on the glycemic index, or GI. Honestly, just think of it like a speed dial for carbs. High GI foods crank that dial up to 100, dumping sugar into your blood really fast. But low GI foods, they release it nice and slow, which is exactly what we're aiming for. In a lot of the time, this just comes down to making simple swaps. Switching from white bread to a hearty whole grain, or from white rice to brown rice. See? You're not cutting out the carbs, you're just picking the smarter, slower burning kind. Okay, so take a look at this number, -21%. What in the world could that be? Well, it's a pretty powerful statistic, let me tell you. That is the drop in your risk of developing type 2 diabetes just by eating 2 servings of high-fiber whole grains a day. That right there shows you the power of our third tool, fiber. It keeps you full, helps control your blood sugar, and it has this huge protective effect. Our fourth tool is lean protein. Why protein? Well, it makes you feel full and satisfied, which helps stop overeating. Plus, it's essential for keeping your muscle mass while you lose weight. So think chicken, fish, beans, tofu, all that good stuff. So, we've talked about what to eat, but the how we make these changes stick, is just as important. So for section 3, we're going to master our mindset. We're moving from what's on the plate to what's in our head. And the approach we're going to use is called cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT. Here's the core idea, and it's a big one. Our actions don't just happen out of nowhere. They start with our thoughts. If we can get a handle on our thinking, we can fundamentally change our behavior for good. Let me show you how this plays out. It usually starts with an automatic negative thought that just pops into your head. You know the one. Something like, ugh, here we go again. I'm just going to fail at this, just like every other time. It feels so true in the moment, but it's just a thought. But then, that thought instantly triggers a feeling. Believing you're destined to fail makes you feel, sad, hopeless, totally deflated. All that motivation you had a second ago, poof, gone. And what do when we feel hopeless? Our behavior follows suit. We stop trying. We ditch the healthy eating plan. That initial thought just became a self-fulfilling prophecy. This whole thought-feeling-action loop is what keeps us stuck in a rut. So, how on earth do you break a cycle that powerful? The number one most important strategy is something called self-monitoring. It's simple. You can't change what you aren't aware of. It's about becoming a detective of your own mind. Because once you can see the thought, you can challenge it. You can choose a different path. And here's what that looks like in the real world. A simple food and mood diary. Check out that entry for 7 p.m. Yeah, the food was pizza, but look at the context. Tired after work. And the feeling? Felt guilty, couldn't be bothered to cook. See, this diary isn't about judging yourself, it's about collecting clues to find your patterns and your triggers. And once you have those clues, you can start to map out what's called a habit chain, where one little thing leads to the next. Like maybe skipping breakfast leads to a tiny lunch because you're being good, but then you get home absolutely starving, too tired to cook, so you order a takeaway. You see the chain? Seeing it is the first step to breaking it. All right, final section, making your changes stick. We know the what and we know the how. Now let's talk about the now what. How do we make sure this all lasts, and how do we handle the bumps in the road? Because there will be bumps. Okay, this next idea is absolutely crucial for long-term success. It's understanding the difference between a lapse and a relapse. A lapse is just a one-time slip-up, like having a piece of cake at a birthday party. It is not a failure, it's a data point, an opportunity to learn. A relapse is when you let that one piece of cake send you spiraling back into all your old habits. How you think about that slip-up changes everything. So to wrap it all up, let's boil it down to 3 key takeaways. First, master your portions. Use your hand as a guide and eat mindfully. Second, make fiber and low GI foods your best friends. Build your meals around them. And third, never forget that your mind is your most powerful tool. Use self-monitoring to understand your thoughts and break those old habit chains. You know, this whole journey doesn't start tomorrow or next week. It starts right now with one small choice. So, looking at everything we just covered, what is the first tiny, totally doable change you are going to make today?